subscribe to the channel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Oh, how are we, lads? Good evening, my friends. How are we? Ah, yes. We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Nick from Australia Rugby League Q&A, episode number 22 of these Q&As. I like coming on here and doing a bit of a Q&A for everyone. Everyone can ask me some questions and I can them as best as possible. But before we get into tonight's live stream, if you're new to the channel, you like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start picking up a little bit of momentum very soon with the trial games upon us, the Super League upon us, the preseason upon us. There's a lot coming up really, really soon. The footy season is just about here. We are 25 days away until the Super League season starts, and we are 39 days away from the NRL season getting underway. So not long to go now. I appreciate everyone in the live chat. We've got a bit of a crowd building up here, which is looking very nice for your Sunday night, January 22nd, 2023. It is 7:43 p.m. here in New South Wales. Hope everyone's doing well. Tonight, I am still a little bit tired. I'm a little bit hungover. Had a big night last night. Went out, got on the drink. Had a very good time. Haven't done much today. I just slept really, so I'm a little bit buggered. But we're here for tonight's Q&A. So if you got some questions, you might as well start throwing them in the live chat now, and I'll try and answer all of them as best as possible. Hello to the live chat. We're going to go through it. Hello, Luke Melbourne Storm fan. Hello to Jason Reader. Hello to Cody Games PlayStation. Hello to Faraz. Shout out to Hainsey in the live chat. Show clips from last night. Yeah, not a good idea. I don't think YouTube would allow the profanity, as in I was twerking on the streets on a pole. Not a good idea to show that on YouTube. Hello to Faraz, Josh Rabbitohs 2023. Let's Go Bulldogs is in the live chat. We've got Devils_Cy. We've got Jeffrey all the way there over there in New Zealand. I think Jeffrey is a very loyal supporter of the channel all the way over there in New Zealand. Shout out to everyone over there. Hope you're doing well, Jeffrey. SS Storm fans here. Everyone's rolling in, getting a bit of a crowd. Shout out to everyone in the UK. We've got Phil Rogers from the UK in the live chat there as well. Aussie Mozzie's here. The chat's looking good. All right, let's get to the questions. We'll stay on here for about 20, 25 minutes. So get as many questions as possible, and I'll try and answer them all. Try not to do the same repetitive questions that we get every time we do one of these. Let's try and get some different questions for a change. Like, don't ask me, oh, where's this team going to finish this year, blah, blah, blah. Just give us something different, some new questions. All right, let's have a look here. What do we got? Oh, yeah, we'll start with this. This is a good start. Faraz Alam. Or Alam, however the hell you pronounce it, in the live chat. Thoughts on the debate of the Rugby League Players Association. Boy, oh boy, what a mess this situation is becoming. All the players are striking about it. Peter V'landys doesn't really seem to give a shit. I'm just going to go on Instagram for just a moment. I saw what James Tedesco wrote the other day, which is pretty big because James Tedesco is one of the most important players in the game, if not the best player. And here it is here. Players are united. We will continue fighting for what is fair. The Rugby League Players Association are on notice, and everyone is talking about it. It's probably the hottest rugby league topic in the game right now. Everyone is calling it out. Tom Burgess to friggin' Nathan Cleary to Jerome Luai to friggin' Declan Casey to everyone you can name of in the NRL. We got here Will Smith, Chad Townsend. My God, even some of the NRLW players as well, like what's her name? Can't even think of it. Everyone, like just everyone. Oh, what's her name? Millie Boyle saying stuff. Everyone, literally everyone in the rugby league, everyone who plays in the NRL are talking about it. It's a situation that's getting out of hand, and it needs to be sorted out pretty quick because it's getting pretty ugly. And let's just hope it doesn't affect the season. But there's not much for me to really say on this at the moment because there's a lot more to be talked about before more does happen. But let's just hope that they get it sorted soon because we don't want it to affect the NRL season. So let's hope that the problems get sorted out real soon. All right. Devils _Sai has a question. Thoughts on Stephen Crichton to the Dogs in 2024? Yep. So we'll be discussing this on the Breakdown podcast. Excuse me. This week, Stephen Crichton to the Bulldogs. It's practically confirmed. The Panthers confirmed he's left. The Bulldogs have confirmed, I think it was yesterday, that they have signed him for 2024. So Crichton will finish off this season at Penrith, and then he's off to Canterbury, which is a big, big buy for the Dogs. Does he go there and play fullback? Does he go there and play in the centres? I'm assuming he's going there to play fullback. What does that mean for Jake Averillo? What does that mean for someone like Jacob Kiraz, who's got a big future in that position potentially as well? They have got themselves a goal kicker now. Obviously, they've got Burton and Kyle Flanagan who can kick, but Stephen Crichton's probably better than both of them at goal kicking. This is a massive signing for Canterbury. They still need to get a halfback, in my opinion. I think if the Dogs are looking at a spine of Crichton, Burton, Marnie at hooker, is Kyle Flanagan the long-term halfback? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Is Kyle Flanagan the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs long-term halfback? That's what we all need to know. And if he is, then we can start talking more about the Bulldog spine for 2024. But as of right now, I like where the Dogs are going. I like the direction they're heading. And I think Stephen Crichton of the Bulldogs is a massive, massive pickup for Canterbury. So well played to Gus Gould getting everything sorted there, and Cameron Ciraldo as well. Anyway, we'll move on to another question. And we've got one here from Wild Red. Do you think New South Wales needs to stop relying on so many Panther and Rooster players to actually start a dynasty? It's got to be pretty embarrassing for Freddie to have all these players and still lose. Yeah, I think it'd be good if they had a bit of variety. I think if they went a little bit different, stop picking all the Panthers players all the time and the Roosters players. We need to make it fair. Someone like Campbell Graham should have already played State of Origin football. There's so many guys you can name. Zach Lomax probably should have already been given at least one game of Origin. There's so many players I can think of that should have already played Origin, but they're just not getting the chance. So, look, I see where you're coming from. I really do. I would like them to not be so biased. Like Addo Carr last year, he should have played Origin. That's a fact. We all saw what Addo Carr did in the Rugby League World Cup. He should have played Origin last year, and that is a fact. But I am with you, Wild Red. I think Brad Fittler needs to, and I think the whole Origin team need to stop picking Roosters and Panthers players all the time. It needs to be a bit different. Like Daniel Tupou, quality player, but did Tupou deserve to be picked over Addo Carr? Maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. Let's move on to a different question. Faraz, Which team is trying to get a redemption in 2023? I think it's the Broncos and I think the Seagulls as well. I think Brisbane, with what happened last year, in the top 8 for most of the year, in the top 4 for a little while as well, get to the last 6 weeks and then they just fall off a cliff. I think the Broncos will be looking to bounce back from the disappointment of last year. The Broncos definitely have a redemption story in them, especially with what happened last season. And it's the same with the Seagulls. The Manly Seagulls were in the top 8 for most of last year as well. They were sitting in 8th up until Pride round. And then the Jersey saga happened, and then Turbo was out, and the situation there was a bit of a mess as well. So I'd say the two teams that are looking for a redemption for next season, for this season, it's got to be the Broncos and the Seagulls for sure, considering what happened last year. Thoughts on Martin Tapau to the Broncos? I did see this. I thought he was going to Parramatta. Then I thought he was going to South Sydney. Now he's off to the Broncos. I think Martin Tapau is one of those players where he'll probably come off the bench most weeks for the Broncos. I think he'll do a great job up there. And if you have a memory, because a lot of people seem to forget these sort of things, I think it was 2 years ago, Martin Tapau had the most running meters out of any forward in the game throughout the whole season. I think it was 2021 when Manly had a great year. I think Martin Tapau had the most run meters out of any forward in the game. So, yes, he is getting older. Yes, he might not be as good as what he once was. But if Martin Tapau is coming off the bench for the Broncos around the 25th minute mark, and he's playing 25 to 30 minutes off the bench for the Broncos, and he's averaging like 70 to 100 meters a game, and he's doing a job, he'll be a good pickup for the Broncos. So I like the addition. Martin Tapau is one of those players where he's a handy prop. He's a great experience. He's a great leader as well. So I think Kevin Walters done well with this one. I think Martin Tapau is a great pickup for the Brisbane Broncos in 2023. We'll see how he goes. Faraz, should the NRL give the Bulldogs at least 4 to 5 games at Belmore? Yeah, they probably should, but they won't because the Bulldogs' home ground is ANZ Stadium or Accor Stadium, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays. And the Bulldogs get paid a shitload of money to play their home games at Accor Stadium. So I think they should have at least 3 games at Belmore a season. Most clubs get about, 10 to 11 home games a year. Some get 12, I think. So 10 to 12 home games a year. The Bulldogs should take at least 3 of them to Belmore. I think that is a no-brainer. Belmore's a great ground. I went down there last year for the Bulldogs and Dragons game when I was in Sydney for my birthday that weekend. And I went to the Bulldogs and Dragons game. I went to Belmore Oval for the first time. It's a very nice stadium. The hill is outstanding. The atmosphere there is brilliant as well. You're always going to sell it out. It's always going to be a good atmosphere. I think the capacity of Belmore is 20,000. So you're going to get more people at Belmore than you're ever going to get at a Accor Stadium for a Dogs home game. I think the Dogs home games probably get, 8,000 or 9,000 a game. So not a big crowd compared to what you would get at Belmore. But if they can upgrade Belmore a bit and make it a bit more of an actual ground so the Dogs can play every week, it'd be good for the game. So Bulldogs, they need more games at Belmore for sure. All right. Jeffrey, do you reckon the Dolphins are a chance to make the 8 for the first time ever, Nick? I don't think the Dolphins are any chance at the top 8 this season. I think they're one of the teams that have got no hope. I'm not believing in them. I think the Dolphins, I really believe the Dolphins are going in the wrong direction. They have got way too many old guys. I mean, the other day, they just bought Albert Kelly. What is the point on buying all these old players? Are the Dolphins a long-term plan or are they a short-term success? What do the Dolphins want to do? For the love of God, I hope they don't do what the Titans do. Don't copy them. Seriously, if you copy the Titans, you're in for a long season, a long future as well. Let's just hope that they get things together. They are new, but they are going to take time. I don't expect the Dolphins to do much at all this season. They're probably going to be in the bottom 4. Anything outside the bottom four would be a pass mark for the Dolphins. I think 13th would probably be a pass mark for them. I don't think there's any chance of making the top 8 this season at all. They'll probably have a few wins here and there, like upsets, but I think they're in for a very, very long season. Hang on. Yozar's got a good question. Bye game every week, less games, so you would think less injuries. Well, I don't think so, Yozar. I think we're still going to see a lot of injuries. Every team will get their injuries. Some teams will probably be lucky with injuries. I know every team gets 3 buys this season, which may help the injuries a little bit. There's no doubt about that. But I think we're always going to get injuries no matter what. So we'll see what happens. Devils_SAR. Will the Dolphins have more fans than the Gold Coast? It's looking that way. It really is looking that way. It's hard to really see the Gold Coast getting much of a fan base this year, considering how poor they were last year, and they went out and bought Kieran Foran, and everyone thinks they're going to be better than what everyone thinks they're going to be a lot better. It's going to take more than Kieran Foran and Sam Verrills to save the Gold Coast. I think we can all agree with that. I don't know. The Dolphins fans are going to be weird because there's going to be a lot of bandwagoners, just like there was when the Gold Coast first came in. So we'll see. But at the moment, I think it'd be pretty even. I think it'd be pretty even with the fans. All right, so many questions coming in here. Flash Totago says, he asked, do you think the Panthers will be first for most of the year? Yeah, I've got them first or second. I think I had them second, so I think they'll be top 2 or top 4 anyway. So we'll see how the Dolphins go. See how the Panthers go this season. What do we got here? Logan Finlay with a very interesting question here. Do you think Hudson Young could play Origin this season? Yes, definitely. Hudson Young, in my opinion, is one of the best back rowers in the game. I think he's a top 5 second rower in the competition. He could definitely play Origin this season. I just want to see a bit more from him first. Just because he had one good season doesn't mean he can automatically become a State of Origin player. So I think he has a lot to prove this year, and if he starts the year off very well, I think there is a big chance he could play Origin this year for New South Wales. But we'll see. He's behind Crichton. He's behind Liam Martin at the moment. He's got a few guys to catch up on. But I'll tell you what, if he plays the way he did in 2022, he'll definitely be a chance this year. So we'll see how Hudson Young goes. For us, who's recruited the worst from all the NRL sides? I hate to say this because they're my dad's team, but I've got to say the Dragons. They've recruited horribly. I think Jacob Little might be one of the worst signings in the comp. I think Zane Musgrave is nothing more than a backup prop at best. I think Musgrave wouldn't make many other NRL teams. I think the Dragons are in for a tough season. I really do. I hope they go well. I have a soft spot for the Dragons. They're probably my second favourite team in the comp, but it's hard to see them doing a whole lot this year when they've got off-field drama with Monet. Sullivan's now injured. They've got all sorts of dramas going on with Griffin. Ben Hunt's already made that public. It's going to be interesting to see how the Dragons go this season. If they get it right, they could be a team around the mid-table and like maybe that 12th, 11th range, but it's hard to see them doing a whole lot this year. So I think the Dragons have recruited the worst. I don't think they've done anything great. Phil Rogers has a question, and he asks, can the Panthers go back-to-back despite losing Appy and Kickout? Well, they're looking for a three-peat, so they're looking to go back-to-back-to-back. It's going to be interesting to see how the Panthers do go this year. Coruscant is the big one. He's the big loss. Mitch Kenny, very good hooker. Defensively, he struggles. Offensively, he doesn't have that kicker, that Coruscant spark. I'm intrigued to see how he goes. I watched Mitch Kenny really closely the back end of last year. I think if you get one of your big forwards one-on-one with Mitch Kenny, you're a good chance on getting over the top of him. I saw that a lot last year. Junior Paulo ran over him a few times in that week one of the finals game. I think Niokore did as well. I think the Panthers, they're still going to be a top 4 team. They're still top 4 for me, no doubt. I just think they're a bit more vulnerable now. They're a bit weaker. Losing kick out hurts. I think Hosking and Luke Garner will do a good job if one of them start in the back row. I keep hearing Scott Sorensen might start in the back row, so we'll see how they all go. But Garner and Hosking will do well. I think they will do well. Shout out to Sam Rivel in the live chat as well. Hope you're doing well. Most unpredictable team for 2023. I think it's the New Zealand Warriors. We say it every year with the Warriors. If they get it right, they could be anything. If they get it wrong, they could be a laughing stock. The Warriors have recruited well. Niokore, Dylan Walker, Mitchell Barnett. I like what they're doing. I really like what's his name. Metcalf went there as well. Charles Nickel Clockstad. The Warriors have actually bought really, really well. Their forward pack's looking a lot better as well. You've got Fanua Blake, Egan, Harris. You've got Niokore and Mitch Barnett. They've got some really good players in that forward pack now. That is going to work out the rotation. Johnson, Metcalf, if that works. Tamari Martin, another one that went there as well. Chance, Nickel Clockstad, Montoya, Rocco Berry, Viliami Valia. The Warriors have got some really exciting players, and I really hope they do well this year. I've got them about 11th, I think, in my ladder prediction. I think the Warriors will improve a lot this season. The only problem I have with the Warriors is, 1, how many games can they win away from New Zealand? 2, what's this new coach going to bring to the Warriors? What's he going to be like? Andrew Webster, how's he going to go? And 3, you just don't know what to expect with the New Zealand Warriors. I think they're the most unpredictable team at all. If they get it right, they could easily be top 8. If they get it wrong, could easily be bottom 4. They're just so hard to trust. They're so hard to trust. Jeffrey has a Super League question for me. How will Salford go this year in the Super League? They should go all right. They didn't really recruit much, but they didn't lose a lot either. Similar team to last year, so they should do well. For us, which team can you confidently say won't win a comp in the next decade if you had a gun to it? Jesus Christ. Okay. Titans. They've never made a grand final. They've only ever made one prelim final. They've never gone close to winning a premiership. The Titans, it's a no-brainer. The Warriors have made 2 grand finals. They've made a couple of prelims. The Tigers seem to be going in a better direction than the Gold Coast. I think the Gold Coast. I really do. I think that they're fucked. Florenzo Vids in the chat. What club who finished in the 8 in 2022 will fall off majorly and miss the finals? Well, I don't think they're going to fall off majorly, but I think Canberra will miss the top 8. I think I had them, what did I have Canberra? 9th, 10th? I think most of the top 8 from last year will be around the same spot. Yeah, probably Canberra. I've got them 9th. I think Canberra will probably just miss out on the top 8. I think the majority of last year's top 8 will either just get in or just miss out. So I'll probably say Canberra, Pro Enzo Vids, but Canberra's another one. They're so hard to predict as well. All right. Faraz, again, content plan for next month. Yeah, so things are going to start wrapping up, start firing up soon. I'm going to be doing each team's 2023 season preview starting this week. The season previews will be coming out. The preseason trials are coming up really soon as well. We've got the Super League coming up in about 25 days. So, excuse me, there's a lot coming up. There's a lot coming up. I'm going to give you guys a bit of I've already given you the schedule. I'll give you guys a bit more of an idea very soon. There's a lot coming up. What do we got here? Devils underscore side. Which team will lose the most fans? Tough question. Oh God. I'll say the Tigers. West Tigers. I don't know how their fans deal with it. I don't know how they deal with every year not making the top 8, not doing shit. All right. What do we got here? More questions. Jesus Christ. Far out. Let's go to Jay Evans. Here we go. Mate, does Reece Walsh start or come off the bench, and where do they finish? So, I think Reece Walsh will start at fullback for the Brisbane Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to be another team this year that they could easily finish 5th or 6th, or they could easily finish 9th or 10th. They are so hard to get a read on. I think what's going to hurt the Broncos is they're going to have to change the way they play when they're playing at the Gabba, when they're playing at the Sunshine Coast, because of the situation where the Women's FIFA World Cup are taking over a lot of stadiums in New South Wales and in Queensland, in particular Suncorp Stadium. So for me, it's very important for the Broncos to start the year off well at Suncorp Stadium, because when they end up playing at the Gabba and the Sunshine Coast, because the stadiums are so different to Suncorp, they're gonna have to change the way they play, especially going to the Gabba. Suncorp and the Gabba, it is so different. The style of football you play on both stadiums is going to have to change a lot. So the Broncos, I've got them finishing 10th, I think. I think Reece Walsh is one of those players where I think he's probably under a lot of pressure this year. There's a kid by the name of Tristan Saylor who could even get a crack at fullback if Walsh doesn't work out. So we'll see what happens. But for me, the Broncos just missed out on the top 8, but would not surprise me if they end up in 5th or 6th. Wouldn't shock me at all. All right. What do we got here? More questions. Jeffrey again. Do you reckon Newcastle Knights any chance in 2023? I think Newcastle will improve a little bit this season. I think the addition of Adam Elliott and Jackson Hastings and Greg Marzou will be very good for them. But I don't think they have enough quality to compete for the top 8. So I think they'll be one of those teams that are like mid-table, maybe around 11 to 14. But it's hard to say with Newcastle because there's a lot of pressure on Adam O'Brien. Ponga's going to 5'8". I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll find out. But I don't think Newcastle are expecting much this season. So we'll see what happens. More questions here. All right. What do we got here? Faraz again. Thoughts on the Imone situation? Yeah, no, I'm not going to get into that. That situation is a bit of a mess. I think he's been stood down actually by the NRL. The no-fault stand-down rule was in play there. So the Dragons are in a mess at the moment. I honestly would not be surprised if Anthony Griffin just stood down as coach. I'm just saying, would not be shocked. Who's the player that's been slept on for 2023? I think everybody, and I mean everybody, everyone is sleeping on Sean Lane. I genuinely believe that Sean Lane will play State of Origin football this season. It's good to wrap Sean Lane and say, he had a great year last year and all this other situation. Sean Lane, for me, is a top 5 back rower in the game. And I genuinely believe in Origin 1 of 2023, Sean Lane will be the starting second rower for New South Wales on the left edge. I think Sean Lane's in for a giant season. Big fan. Big fan of Sean Lane. I think he's in for a big year. Expectation for the Cowboys in 2023. The Cowboys, with the draw that the Cowboys have and with the amount of home games that we have up in Townsville, and again, not a lot of travelling to Sydney. I think we've got about 5 or 6 games in Sydney this season. The Cowboys, for me, they need to be a top 4. They need to finish top 4. I think the lowest we finish is 6. The highest is 2nd. I think the Cowboys are a top 4 team. Anything below 6 would be so disappointing this year. So we'll see how we go. SS Storm fan, will Jack Holworth make his debut this year? I've been hearing a lot about him, and I think he will. SS Storm fan, I think he will make his debut this year. I think he's a really good player. So keep an eye on Jack Holworth. Who has the easiest draw in 2023? I think the Cowboys got lucky with their draw. I think Canberra got a fair run as well. I also think the Panthers got a pretty good draw as well. The Premiers got a good run as well. So I'd say Penrith, Cowboys, and the Raiders, maybe the Roosters as well. Melbourne were pretty gifted as well, to be fair. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's go Bulldogs. Another question from him. What do we got here? Thoughts on Paul Amatoa? Yeah, he's that young centre coming through for Canterbury as well. Yeah, a big fan of him. I've seen a little bit of him. Not sure how he will go, but he's one to keep an eye on. Who has the hardest draw, Nick? Tough question. I think the Gold Coast will get a tough run. I think the Newcastle Knights have got a tough run as well. There's a lot of teams that have a tough draw. It's hard to say. Like a lot of teams got screwed. I think Souths have a tough draw as well. South's first 3 games are ridiculous. They've got Cronulla, Penrith, and the Roosters. Souths have got a tough run the first 3 weeks. Cronulla at Shark Park. Cronulla? Yeah, Souths have got a tough run. South's draw is ridiculous. The Rabbitohs got screwed by the draw, in my opinion. South's got messed up. Yeah, South Sydney are going to play Cronulla at Shark Park, Penrith at Penrith. Then they got the Roosters at Allianz. Then they got Manly and Melbourne. Really tough run for the Rabbitohs. I think Rabbitohs have got the most mucked up 5 rounds. Souths have got a tough start. All right, what do we got here? A few more questions. Faraz says Broncos and Manly have the hardest run. Broncos play 14 times against top 8 sides from last year. Yeah, that's interesting. Cowboys have got a tough run to the end, but we'll see. Let's go Bulldogs. If Latrell Mitchell is healthy, could he win the Dally M? Yes, absolutely. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up episode number 22 of the Nick from Australia Rugby League Q&A. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to tonight's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give the stream a like and a comment and give it a subscribe as well. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another live stream. Until then, take care. See you in the next one.